Okay, now this is a continuation of the work that we were doing on Wednesday in class, where we were going through some past number papers. I believe we were up to this page. I think we'd done these 3 questions and we were up to here, but I'm going to do these questions again anyway. So it says question 3, evaluate the following, show your working. So remember, when multiplying fractions, we multiply the numerators. So we do 5 times 2, multiply the numerators, and we multiply the denominators over 9 times 3. So multiplying the tops, we get 5 times 2 is 10, over 9 times 3 is 27, and that's the first question there. Now in this question here, the second question, we're asked to subtract these 2 fractions. Now notice that the denominators are not the same. And also notice that this fraction here is a mixed numeral, so we need to change it to an improper fraction. Now we've got 2 wholes, and each of those 2 wholes would be cut into 6 parts. So we've got, that's why we do 6 times 2, so these 2 wholes have 12 parts, because if you just think you've got 2 wholes and 1/6. We know that everything gets cut into 6s because we're dealing with sixths. So I've got 2 wholes, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts, and we've got 1/6, so we've actually got 6, 12, 13 parts over 6. So to change this mixed numeral to an improper fraction, you do 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13 over 6, and then we do minus 3/4. But just notice that those 2 fractions, the denominators are not the same. So we've got to think of a number that both 6 and 4 go into. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with the bigger number, 6, and just keep counting up by 6s. So I've got 6 and then 12, and then I'm going to stop because I know that 4 goes into 12 as well. Because if I count up by 4s and I go 4, 8, 12, well, 6 can go into 12 and 4 goes into 12 as well. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make both denominators 12. Actually, I might do it up there. So I'm going to make both denominators 12. And once both denominators are the same, then I can subtract with my fractions. So how do I make that first denominator into a 12? Well, I do 6 times 2, so I times the top by 2. So if I do 6 times 2 is 12, then 13 times 2 is 26. So that first fraction, instead of being 13 over 6, is now 26 over 12. With this second fraction, how do I change the 4 into a 12? Well, I times the numerator and the denominator by 3. Sorry about that. And I get 4 times 3 is 12, and 3 times 3 is 9. So now my question becomes 26 over 12 minus 12 over 9. Now that I know that my denominators are the same, I subtract my numerators. So 26 take away 9 is 17. Okay, now that is an improper fraction. We don't leave our answers as improper fractions. We need to change it to a mixed number. So this means 17 divided by 12, or how many times does 12 go into 17? Now 12 goes into 17 once, and with 5 remainder over 12. So that's our answer to that question. Now in the next question, when we divide by fractions, we use the KCF method. Keep the first fraction the same, change the second one from divide to a times, and then flip the second fraction. Now, because we changed the divide to a times, that's doing an opposite, so we must do the opposite of the next thing. Instead of 6 over 7, we write it as 7 over 6. So now this just becomes like the first question where we're multiplying our fractions. So 2 times 7 is 14 over 3 times 6 is 18. Notice that they are both even numbers, and so I'm going to divide them both by 2. And when I divide them both by 2, I get 7 over 9. Okay, now for the next question, dividing. Now when this really means 0.4 into 102.76. Now we can only do this question if we've got a whole number here. So what we need to do is we're going to move the decimal point 1 place to the right here, And I can't just do that there, I have to also do it here. So now my question is not 0.4 into 102.76. It's actually going to be 4 into 1027.6. So what I've done, the decimal point was here, 0.4, and the decimal point was there, 102.76. Because I always need a whole number out the front, if I move the decimal point one place to the right, I end up with 4 point, which is a whole number. So I must move this one place to the right as well. So now I just do this question. So 4 doesn't go into 1. So now we do 4 into 10 is twice with 2 remainder. 4 into 22, 4 5s are 20, again 2 remainder as well. 4 into 27, we know that 4 6s are 24, so it goes 6 times. Now here's my decimal point, so I put it with 3 remainder. And then I've got 4 into 36 goes exactly 9 times, so therefore my answer is 256.9. Now for question 4. Now look, these questions are getting a little bit harder, so just try and do your best. Now notice this is the non-calculator section, so they've told us that 18.5 times 4.85 is 89.725. Notice that we've got I'm underlining them in red, 1 2 3 digits after the decimal point in the question, so I've got 3 digits after the decimal point in the answer. So now they're asking us, what does 0.185 times 48.5 equal? Notice that these numbers are actually the same as those, just that the decimal points are in different places. So because the numbers are exactly the same, we write the number 89.725, because we know that our answer will be those same numbers. And we just count how many numbers or digits after the decimal point in our new question. So I've got 1 2 3 there and one more here. That's 4 digits after the decimal point. I've got 1 2 3 4. So my answer has to be 8.9725. That way I will also have 4 digits after the decimal point. So how do you get your answer? There must be 4 digits after the decimal point. Okay. Now in this next question, this is a bit of a tricky one, but I'll do it anyway. So the product of two numbers is 4 1/3. Now what this means, the product of two numbers. Product means multiply. So this is telling me if I multiply two numbers, I get 4 1/3. It's telling me that if one of the numbers is 1 5/8, find the other number. So I know that 1 5/8 times something, question mark, equals 4 1/3. Now, for example, if I told you that 2 times something equals 10, you know that you can do 10 divided by 2 will give you that missing number, that something. So we're going to do the same thing here. The missing number, question mark, is 4 1/3 divided by 1 5/8. Now we can't do this question because they're both mixed numerals. So we have to change the mixed numerals to improper fractions. So 4 wholes which have 3 parts each in them would be 4 times 3. I'd have 12 parts plus 1 more part is 13 parts over 3 divided by, I have to do the same thing here. This 1 whole has 8 parts in it. So 8 times 1 is 8 plus 5 is 13 over 8. So I'm doing 13 over 3 divided by 13 over 8. Remember, with dividing fractions, it's the KCF method. Keep the first one, change the second, so change the divide to a times and flip the last one. So we're going to get, now I want to do some cancelling here. Whenever you're multiplying fractions, if you look diagonally across, if one of the numbers goes into the other, I can say, well, 13 goes into 13 once, 13 goes into 13 once, and so my answer is going to be 8 over 3, okay? Now, that means 8 divided by 3, or how many times does 3 go into 8? It goes twice, because 2 times 3 is 6, with 2 remainder over 3. Now, before I go through this next section, I want you to stop the video and try them on your own, okay? And then restart the video when you're ready, because these first 2 pages should be okay. First question, which of the following numbers is not an integer? Now, an integer is a whole number or 0. So, and it can be also a positive, sorry, you can't see that. So an integer is a positive or a negative whole number or 0. So which of those is not a whole number? Well, it would be the fraction that, the mixed numeral is not a whole number. Okay, so that one is not an integer. Okay. Right, in the second question, state the opposite of 5 kilometers east. Well, it would be 5 kilometers west, because east and west are opposites. The opposite of 20 meters above sea level would be 20 meters below. So I'm underlining the words that you would do opposites of. It would be 20 meters below sea level. Okay, putting these numbers in on the number line. Look, I'm just going to, so if we've got 1 here, we've obviously got 2 here. And going backwards, I've got 0. This would be -1. That would be -2, -3, -4, -5, -6. So the numbers that you would have to put in was there, -5, -1, and 2. Now, insert a greater than or less than symbol in the square to make a true statement. Now, we always put the big open mouth facing the bigger number. Now, 4 is bigger than -12. So, the other thing, some people like to use less. Look at that as an L. So, -12 is less than 4. Okay, over the next page. Could you please pause the video, attempt these if you haven't already done, and then restart the video when you're ready. So, it says you may use a number line to answer the following questions. 2, take away 5. So, we start at 2. And we take away 5. So we go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, I started at 2 and I'm taking away 5. So I go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My answer is -3. With the next one, I start at -3 and I'm adding 4. So start at -3 and add 4. Add 1, 2, 3, 4. And I end at +1. Now the next question. Rose recorded temperatures on a mountain over 4 days. Which list gives the 4 temperatures arranged in order from lowest to highest? So we've got 0, -3 is less than 0. What I'm going to do here, girls, let's just use this number line that we had up the top here. So 0 is here, but -3 is smaller than 0, so that is not the correct answer. This one here, we've got -5, which would be down here, and then up to 4, and then back down to a negative. So this is not in order as well, because -3 is smaller than 4, okay? Looking at this one, -3 and then -5. Well, -3 is here, but -5 is back there. So -5 is actually smaller than -3, so it's not that. This one here, -5 would be there. -3 would be here, there's 0, and there's 4 over here. So that is the correct answer, D. Okay, now, this question here, question C. The temperature at the base of the mountain is 11. So down here it's 11 degrees, and up here at the summit, it's 25 degrees colder. So the temperature up here is less than the temperature down there. Because it's colder, you have to take away the 25 from the 11. So we go 11 minus 25. Okay? Now, to do that, what you can do, you've got 11 pluses and 25 minuses. So what you need to do is, our answer is going to be a negative because you've got more negatives than positives. You've got 11 and you're taking away 25, so you're going below 0. So what you now do is, don't worry, you know that you've got a negative answer, so just write minus, And what you do, you just find the difference between 25 and 11. And the difference between 25 and 11 is 14. So your temperature at the summit will be minus 14. The other way you can look at it is that you can start off at 11 degrees. To go down to 0, you'd have to take away 11, but we need to take away 25. So you'd still need to take away another 14 degrees to get to be able to take away 25 in total. Okay, now for the next question. Please pause the video and try these and then restart when you're ready. It says, which of these shows the smallest change in temperature? So we've got I'm going to draw a little scale here. Okay, I'm going to put 0 here. I'm going to put, I'll just go down by 5. So -5, -10, I'm going to go up to 5, up to 10. Remember, we've got all little dashes in between with all the other numbers in between. Now, it says, which one shows the smallest change in temperature? First one is from -10 here up to -5. Now that's a jump of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So that's 5 units, or 5 degree change. Then this one down here is from -1, which is down here, because that's 0, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So I'm going from -1 to +2. Now +2 is up here, because I go 0, 1, 2. So I'm jumping 1, 2, 3. That's a 3 degree change. Okay, now from 8, let's go from -4 to 0. -4 would be here just before -5, up to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 4 degree change. And the last one is from 8 degrees to 10. So I'm jumping up 1, 2. That's a 2 degree change. So the option that gives you the smallest change in temperature is D. Okay? Now for question 3. Evaluate the following. 3 plus -5. Now when you see a plus and a minus together, remember that a plus and a minus equals a minus, because a plus doesn't change anything, or a minus followed by a plus next to each other is just a minus. So 3 minus +5 is 3, take away 5. Now we're going below 0. So if we've got 3 and we take away 5, we're going to end up at 2 below 0. So our answer is -2. Now in this next one here, 3 times -4. Now a positive times a negative is also a negative. So, and 3 times 4 is 12. So the answer is -12. Now in the next one, -16 divided by -2. Now a negative divided by a negative. When you've got two negatives divided by each other, you get a positive. So we get +8, because 16 divided by 2 is 8, or we can just write our answer as 8. And now with our last question, which is an order of operations, 3 take away 5 is -2. And we still need to times it by -2. Now, a negative times a negative is also a positive, and 2 times 2 is 4, so the answer is 4. Okay, now for part B, working these out. Remember, I don't need, I don't need the two signs. So I've got -10 plus -3, just means take away 3, minus +2, a minus and a plus gives a minus. So my question becomes this: -10, take away 3, take away 2. You can think of it on a number line. Okay, you've got -10, say here, and we've got to keep going backwards because we're taking away 3, so we're going back 1, 2, 3, and we're going back another 2. Now remember, the negatives, you get bigger as you go smaller. So the negative numbers go that way. So I've got -10, take away 3, take away 2 is -15. 15. You could do this by just drawing a number line. Remember with the negatives, that the numbers you go more negative, negative 11, negative 12, negative 13. They're smaller than negative 10. Okay? Now, the next one, 5 take away 2 times negative 4. With order of operations, I need to do this bit, the 2 times negative 4 first. So I've got 5 take away. Now, 2 times negative 4 is a positive times a negative, which is negative 8. Now, 2 negatives together make a positive. So that would be 5 plus 8, which is 13. Okay, in this question down here, 3 take away 13. I need to do that bit first. Now I've got 3 taking away 13. That will go below 0, and the dip, so I get a negative, and the difference between 13 and 3 is 10. So it's negative 10 over 5 plus 1. Now, of course, I have to do the divide first. This is negative 10 divided by 5. Now, a negative divided by a positive is a negative. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And then I've got plus 1. So I've got negative 2 plus 1. So I've got 2 minuses. If I can draw a number line here if I want. And I start at negative 2 and I'm adding 1, and I will end up with negative 1. Now for this last question here, just be very careful. You want to do the bits in brackets first. So I'm going to do the 1 plus 4 first, which is 5. So that's done. Times 3 minus 2 times, let's do the bits in brackets. 12 divided by negative 4 is a positive divided by a negative, which is a negative. And 12 divided by 4 is 3. So 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. So that bit's done. And then go plus 3. Now on the next line, remember we have to do any multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. So I'm underlining the bits in red that need to be done first. So 5 times 3 is 15. Take away 2 times negative 3 is a positive, times a negative is a negative. So I get negative 6. So I've done that bit there. Now I go plus 3. So remember, if you see 2 negatives together, 15 take away negative 6 means 15 plus 6. And I've still got a plus 3. And I can work that out now. So 15 plus 6 is 21, plus 3 is 24. Okay, now that's the end of the non-calculator section of this revision. I'm going to stop this video now, and then I'm going to do another video with all the calculator section of those revision sheets.